Hi guys, welcome to another card discussion video. Today I want to talk about the 7 new cards which have been revealed in the last 2 days. And like always, I would like to point out before, it's just my personal opinion. There's no guarantee if I'm right or wrong, and I would rather have you focus on the argumentation or the aspects I'm mentioning than the final conclusion. This is actually something you can do on your own, make your own thoughts. Also, we can compare my ideas with the ideas from our other guy. Okay, but now we start with the cards. The first one, Skeram Cultist. It's a 6-mana 7/6. It has a battle cry, gives cartoon +2/+2. So it's a little bit similar to the Vilefin Ogre. Same mana cost, stats are the same, just it's switched, and but has a battle cry for a cartoon. We have seen some minions with the same battle cry already, and I think those are better because they are low mana cost minions, and there it's not that important that they have a special ability or so, but right now it is like this, that the more expensive the minions are, they need to have something, a special ability which somehow affects the board. In best case, it should affect the board immediately. So this one is like a Vilefin Ogre, and we don't see it in play. The only thing you get is the buff on cartoon, which is good later. And of course, if you use cartoon, you need some of those guys with this battle cry. But I just think it should be the low cost minions, not this guy. If you think about it, you would rather have Sylvanas or Thoradin, even though the stats are not so high. But this battle cry is not that good enough to justify this card over other good 6-drops. So I don't think this is a really good card. We won't see this in constructed. In arena it's not available. Okay, so we continue with so 1 second, Steward of Darkshire, 3 mana, 3/3 stats. It's a paladin card, and whenever you summon a 1 health minion, give it Divine Shield. That also applies for the Silver Hand Recruit you can summon with your hero power. So it's an interesting card, but I don't think it is the effect is strong enough so that we don't see it so often in play. If you think about it, apart from your hero power, how many or what kind of minions have just 1 health? There are those really low cost minions. But do you want to have an army of low cost minions? Maybe you should play really aggressive, and then stuff like Wolf Rider will have Divine Shield and so on, which is not bad. But somehow you need to combine it, and this one costs 3 mana. If you want to play it with an Wolf Rider, you can play it on turn 6, which is way too late if you want to play aggressive. If you just play it on turn 3 without anything else, it might get killed because it has just 3 health. So I think it's really hard to use it effectively in a aggressive deck. Or really you need to include a lot of 1-drops. It would be way better if Paladin would have something like Savage Roar or so, but it's not the case. So that's why I don't think it's good for aggressive decks. And for other decks, then those 1 health minions are not so interesting. Even though this is working with Twilight Drake, but this is a combo you can just play on turn 7. It's quite late and not that special that you need to use this. It might be good, maybe. We don't know what we will see in the future with Stand Against Darkness. Then you get those 5 little dudes all with Divine Shield. this is maybe something, a combination which you can use to, but I don't know for what exactly right now. Yeah, if you use this, you can also think of using the Blood Knight, since here you can create a Divine Shield quite, really consistently with the hero power, and then play the Blood Knight to do get the buff. But I doubt that this is strong enough, so we won't see this in play. In Arena, I think it is a good card, even though you also might not have so many 1 health minion. But it's not so uncommon to have 1 or 2 1 mana minions, and those maybe get this Divine Shield. The stats for 3 mana is okay, and yeah, it works with the hero power, so you can somehow compare it with the Silver Hand Regent, which summons a second 1/1. Here you have one with Divine Shield. Might be, yeah, it's somehow similar. So yeah, I think it's a decent card in Arena. It's yeah, decent to good. The next one is Scaled Nightmare, 6 mana, 2/8 in stats, but at the start of your turn, double this minion's attack. Yeah, you have a lot of potential with this card. It can grow really big. Starting with 2 mana is not that good. It will take a while. On your turn it's just a 4/8 and so on. So you should combine it with a spell like Blessing of Might, or is it Coldblood, the rogue? Yeah, the rogue card. And with rogue you can also then give it stealth, so you in that case you get a 12/8, but it's for 8 mana using 3 cards. If you use it to go face, you deal 8 damage, 12 of course, which is nice. But I think you can do it also, yeah, with with other cards. Of course, you have the big body then still on the board, but yeah, most likely your opponent will have something to deal with it. So, like the big surprise to make 1 turn kill or something like this. This is not so strong enough. I think there are actually a lot of cards with potential to really grow big we have seen in the past, but not so many really good. So okay, here with doubling the effect is quite good, and 8 health is also a lot, so it most likely will survive, even though you don't play it with anything else. But if you don't give it support, yeah, it's just 4/8 in the best case on the next turn, which is okay, but not super good. And if you give it support with buff cards and so on, yeah, you need more cards to to make this combo happen, and it's harder to pull it off. And the problem is, if you're behind, it's your opponent can kill it quite easily, depending how much you are behind. 8 health is still a lot, but he's not losing that many minions on the board. So even if it survives, they may just have 3 or 4 health left. So in best case, you can just trade it with another card. So that's the the problem I have with this card. But yeah, it has some potential. Also, it's really would be also a good card if you use it with Priest and Inner Fire. You have an 8/8 you put on the board for 7 mana, and next turn you get it. It's for it's a 16/8, which is really huge. Okay, in Arena, you don't have most likely other cards which help this guy to grow big yeah, so big. On the other hand, your opponent has not so much removals, so this might live a little longer to make some really good trades. This is a little bit depending when you start, or at which board situation you face in this moment. If you're behind, it's the same reasons I just mentioned. Then it's get weakened or killed too easily without somehow really affecting the board. If you're ahead on the board, then it's a good card. So it's a little bit depending on what you prefer. Do you like to take cards which has a certain risk, so which requires that you are ahead on the board? Yeah, it's also depending on what kind of deck you drafted. If you see, okay, I have a really good tempo deck, then this makes sense to include it. Then it's better than you and then it's a slower way to think, okay, I don't have a good early game, so I might be behind and not. I don't like so much cards which can be really bad when you're behind. So this is not completely bad, but my personal opinion, it's more a decent card. I'm not so super excited about this card. Okay. The next one is Ancient Harbinger. It's a 6 mana 4/6, and at the start of your turn, put a 10 cost minion from your deck into your hand. So, yeah, all those new old gods are 10 mana cards, and probably they are the center of a certain deck. If it works out, then they are the main character. So you build more or less the deck around this card, and of course you want them in your hand, so that when you're at 10 mana, you play then, or you play it at a certain point where you decide, okay, I want to play this card now, and now it makes sense. Yeah, so you want this in hand. If this card, which is the whole deck is built around this deck, is the last one of your deck, it's pretty bad. So this card can guarantee you to draw this minion a bit faster. Yeah, only problem is that it needs to survive a turn, and the stats are not that good. It's a little bit better than a Yeti. So if you draw it, then it's good value out of it. If you don't draw it, it's not a good card. So this is not a card usually you play when your opponent might have the chance to kill it. So if your deck is built around this card, and you really want to draw it, then you also need to make sure that you draw it. And this guy, Ancient Harbinger, is surviving. So how good it is, I think it's more depending on the deck you use and how likely it is that you can play it in a safe environment, so behind a taunt or on an empty board. For example, if you have Mage and he plays Frost Nova Doomsayer, this is pretty good, because if your opponent cannot deal with the Doomsayer, he's not going to play anything. So most likely, if he has no Death Rattle minions, then the board is free, you can play it. And if he doesn't have any removal, this guy survives and you draw the card. If he removes it with a removal, then it might be still good, because he used one removal for this card, which is for 6, so not that big of a threat. And you will draw your 10 mana cost minion eventually anyway. Yeah, so it's depending on the deck how reliable you can protect this guy or not. In Arena, it's really unlikely to have a 10 cost minion, and also the other question is if it is so good to have a 10 cost minion, since it's really fast these days. So most likely the effect is not as interesting at all. So it's just a 6 mana for 6, which is yeah, more bad than I mean, it's not nothing, but it's more bad. It's not completely garbage, but it's bad. Could be better. Okay. Decent at the most. Okay, let's continue with Cobalist to Tome. 5 mana mage card. Add 3 random mage spells to your hand. So this is a card which can control mages, can use fatigue mage. Yeah, so for tempo mage this is too slow and you don't know what you get. So this is for slower decks where you can once spend 5 mana to get more cards, so you have more resources to spend. Yeah, especially when fatigue deck, where it's a lot about dealing with the resources and using your own resources better than the one from your opponent. This card alone just gives you 3 more spells, which is not bad. I think we will need to see what the experience is with this card. It is random and you never know what you will get. Yeah, really to assess it, really need to wait how useful those cards are on average. It sounds pretty amazing to get 3 spells. Most of the time you get 1 removal card, but if you just get 1 removal card like a fireball and 2 really garbage cards, then you could just have included the fireball right from the beginning and have saved the 5 mana. Yeah, so you can, in some cases you can end up like this or even worse. So we need to see how good it will be. You might get an idea about this if you use I think Ethereal Conjurer, its name, a few times. He has the discover effect that you can choose 1 spell, so he gives you 3 and you can choose 1. So just imagine that you can get all 3 of them. It's like the same effect. You can just get 3 and think about how useful those cards are for you. Usually you pick just the best one you want, and so then the interesting part are the other 2 cards you get. Are they worse to get or not, or is it better to have like Ethereal Conjurer to have the 6/3 on your board? So maybe this might give you an idea how good this card can be. So Ethereal Conjurer might be better than Cobalist Tome, but yeah, even though just assuming this would be worse doesn't mean it's a bad card on its own. So yeah, in Arena it depends a little bit on which kind of deck you're playing. It's really slow. I mean, playing this and getting the spells, you might have the chance to outwell your opponent. You get the card advantage, and you might get some removals, which helps you to control the board more. And so this can be one way to win this game. On the other hand, if you're already behind on board, you cannot play this card because you play 5 mana and you don't know what you get. It's really awesome then if you draw into a Flame Strike or Blizzard or so, but it's maybe not that likely, and your opponent has 1 more turn to develop his board to get stronger and bring you closer to death, and so then it's a dead card. Somewhere you need to be in a stable position, or at least have some other answers on your hand so that you can deal with the board on the next turns. Then yeah, if you're ahead and you play this card, even if your then opponent has a chance to catch up, then you get the advantage of the your 3 more cards you have in your hand, which then helps you to win the game. So yeah, I personally find it a little bit too risky. It's hard to say. If I have good early game or so, I think I would take this card. If I'm not so happy with my early game, yeah, I would be more careful to pick this card. But I think this is really depending also on the personal preferences regarding taking risk or not. The next one is Vilefin Inquisitor. It's a 1-mana paladin card, 1/3 stats, and it's Murloc. And the battle cry says your hero power becomes summon a 1/1 Murloc. So, yeah, this card, if useful at all, then only in a Murloc deck, and not the Murloc decks we see right now. The the Murloc decks we have right now include Blue Jill Warrior, Old Merc Eye, which we won't see in standard, and the Warlock Murloc War Leader. Yeah, and when you then play, anything can happen. You get some really strong Murlocs with all the synergies, and they have charge, which is really good. So you can either deal with the board or you can kill your opponent. So this is really good. But you want those specific minions in your Murlocs then. But if you play this guy, and whenever you use your hero power, which you maybe will do a few times during the game, a lot of 1/1 Murlocs die, and then the chance is is increasing that you summon just 1/1 Murlocs instead of your Merc Old. No, I just I forgot the name. Just said it. I know Old Merc Eye. So this way, or the Blue Jill Warrior. So this is not good if you you cannot use it in an OTK deck. So this need to be in a normal, I say normal Murloc deck, where you want to pretty soon fill the board with all the Murlocs and all the synergies to get a really strong board. Maybe like we saw 2 years ago with the Murloc decks from Warlock, or here a little bit more mid-range, since the Murloc Paladin, the Murloc Knight, is pretty strong, and you get a lot of value out of this. Yeah. Okay, so this is really depending how good Murloc Paladin will be. Just this card alone, I don't think does make Murloc decks so good that this will become a thing. So we need more support for this. In Arena, it actually doesn't matter that much if you have Murlocs or Silverhand regions, depending on if you have cards which have synergies with either Murlocs or Silverhand regions, recruits, not regions, sorry. So it's basically just a 1-mana 1/3, which is which is okay, but not something really good or so. It deals good with 1-drops, but it's it's not good against 2-drops, while a 1-mana or 2/1 has the potential to kill a 2-drop, but on the other hand can be pinged. So stats are decent, I would say. So it is a card you can choose. Okay, let's go on with the last one. I think the pronunciation is Yeshirai. Rage Unbound. At the end of your turn, put a minion from your deck into the battlefield. 10 mana, 10/10 stats. Yeah, so the problem with this card, I see, is that it doesn't do something which really affects the board. I mean, of course, you get really big dude on the board and it will summon another one. But this one, if it has charge or battle cry or even another effect which triggers at the end of your turn, all those things won't happen in this turn. You can't use it, so you just get another minion with just the stats, which is not that good. So you have no effect on the board, and so if your opponent is close before killing you, or so, this guy is not doing anything. If you're if the minion you summon has no taunt or something like this, and you cannot guarantee this. Yeah, it is a threat your opponent needs to deal with if he has not the chance to I don't know. I'm missing the word. I say running down, so like killing you soon, because otherwise the value is too much. Because playing every time you can make your own turn and you get a minion in addition. And also, if it's your turn and you can trade with this guy, you can trade against almost everything. That's pretty huge. So somehow, if your opponent has not the chance to kill you quite soon, it needs to deal with it. And usually everyone has some removals in his deck. So if not, then it's really, really good. But usually for big minions, if you're a control deck, you have removals, and then you will just remove it. And what will be and the effect is just that he get a minion on the board, another one, which I don't think is that strong. You can compare it with Vilefin Rin, for example. It's 10 mana, 7/7, and you draw 3 cards. And all your minions you draw will be played immediately on the board. And you can use the charge effects and abilities which triggers at the end of your turn, like Ragnar's, for example, they trigger, which is pretty good. And if you get, I don't know, 1, 2, maybe 3 minions, and you draw also some cards. It has a little bit, the stats are not that high, but yeah, I don't really think that matters a lot if you have 7/7 or 10/10, because as I said, usually your opponent has something to deal with it, a removal. And yeah, Vilefin Rin is not played that often in Control Warrior. It is played, but it's not an auto include, and I think it's stronger than Sharif. So that's why I think it's not that good in Constructed. In Arena, this card actually is, if we just don't think about the, right now for a moment, not about the mana cost, this minion is really good because stats matter a lot in Arena. There are not so many removals, and then you play every round at your end an additional minion, so the value is really insane. Your opponent, if he doesn't have the same as in Constructed, has no chance to kill you quite soon, needs to deal with it, and it will take him a lot of resources to kill this guy. So that's a lot of value, and if he can't, you can start. If he just goes face, you can start making efficient trades. You get the next minion at the end of your turn, and so on. So it shouldn't be so difficult to take over the board control. If you're playing this when you on an empty board, or if you're ahead, then in over 90% of all the cases you won already this game. So the card actually in this situation is really good. Only problem is really high mana cost. One thing is that you cannot do anything else on that turn, so it doesn't prevent you from lethal if your opponent has lethal. Yeah, and the other thing is that Arena is quite fast. It costs 10 mana, so if at all you can play it really late. Sometimes you don't survive as long. Yeah, and so in more aggressive decks, I wouldn't include this. It doesn't make sense to put him in an aggressive hunter or aggressive warlock deck. Yeah, also because then the minions you summon are not that strong. I think then it's better to take other minions which help you more in the early and mid game, or have additional burst or something like this. But in those decks where which are not that aggressive, which also goes more for board control and see turn 10 more often, this is actually a really good card. Yeah. Okay, so with this I'm at the end of my card discussion. Yeah, I hope you could follow my argumentation, and you also think I didn't tell too much bullshit here, so that you can somehow agree on my opinion. And yeah, if you like it, I would be glad if you give me a thumb up, and then hopefully we will see us soon in one of my next videos.